So, okay. So welcome all to High Energy Physics Journal Club at IISA Mohali. So today we have Dr. Ratan Sarkar as our speaker. So before we begin with the seminar, I would like to briefly introduce him. So Dr. Ratan completed his master's from IIT Mumbai in 2015, and he received his PhD from ISC Bangalore this year. And currently, he is continuing his work at the Center for High Energy Physics at ISC Bengaluru. Few of his research interests include QCD phenomenology, effective field theory, and Feynman integral calculus. So we are very pleased to have him. And so today he will be talking about asymptotic analysis of multi-scale, multi-loop Feynman diagrams. So with this, over to Dr. Ratan.
Thank you, Arpit, for the introduction. And uh, uh, actually, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk here. So actually, uh, uh, today I'm going to talk on asymptotic analysis of multi-scale multi-loop Feynman integrals based on the approach of expansion by regions. So this talk is based on these two publications. Yeah. So let me outline my talk. So in the first part, I'll discuss the basic considerations of the expansion by regions, and after that, I will explain the uh, uh, the actual Mathematica program Aspire, which we had developed for the identification of the regions, and after that, I'll discuss one particular notion of the Aspire program that is called top facility sim components, and it's actually uh, it's actually correlation with the maximal cuts. And after that, uh, I'll explain actually how to uh, solve actually multi-loop Feynman integrals in actual parametric form based on the approach of expansion by regions, and then I'll conclude. So we know that the scattering amplitudes within perturbative domain uh, are expressed in terms of perturbative series in the coupling constants of the theory. So the experimental accuracies uh, at, at actual colliders are basically increasing over the years. So uh, in order to compete with that, we need to be more precise from the theory sides as well. So actually, which demands the calculation of multi-scale multi-loop uh, Feynman integrals. So the exact calculation of multi-scale multi-loop Feynman integrals is very difficult due to the presence of many scales, and also the uh, loop integrals can be divergent. Actually, when the loop momenta uh, are actually very large or very small. So actually, when exact calculations are not available, so then we can perform systematic approximation, which may be helpful for actually practical purposes. So the particular method of expansion by regions is one of the useful ways to perform the uh, approximate calculation for a given multi-scale multi-loop Feynman integral in a given limit. So this particular method uh, had been developed in 1997 by Beneke and Smirnov. So the basic idea is to expand the integrand of the multi-scale multi-loop uh, Feynman integral uh, based on the scale hierarchies. Uh, so let me outline the steps of this particular method. So for a given multi-scale Feynman diagram, identify all the scales, then basically divide the whole loop momentum space into several regions and construct a small expansion parameter, which is the actually ratio of small and large scales. After uh, uh, consideration of the regions, then take one needs to tailor expand the integrand in each of the regions. So after the expansion, one needs to integrate the expanded terms over the whole loop momentum space. This particular step 4 is kind of confusing because one is expanding the integrand in a certain region, but after the expansion, one is actually integrating over the whole loop momentum space. So uh, actually one is uh, 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 actually considering multiple countings of certain points in the phase space. So uh, how is this consistent? So one can actually show that this kind of double counting terms gives rise to scaleless contributions. So the scaleless contributions are basically zero within dimensional regularization. So in that way, this method is like consistent. So so after that, we sum the contribution coming from all of the regions, and that gives the actual answer uh, for the actual integral in an expanded form. Uh, Let me explain these steps with this simple one loop example. Here we have two propagators, I1 and I2, and we actually consider integral in d dimension, which is 4 minus 2 epsilon. So here we have two scales, one is p and actually one is m. So I have taken this example from this paper by Ian Chand. So particularly for this example, we consider the limit where p square is very, very large. P square is actually very, very greater than m square. So based on this particular limit, we have two kind of possibilities. Actually, where the loop momenta can be of the uh, size of p. That means all of the components of the uh, uh, loop momenta are of the size of p. That is, and call we call this particular region to be hard. And actually, when the components of the loop momenta k are of the size of small m, we call that particular region to be soft. So basically, according to the steps of the expansion by regions, we have actual integral f equal to contribution coming from the hard region plus contribution coming from the soft region counting part actually hs. So we will show that the double counting term FHS, they basically produce scaleless contribution, and they are basically zero in dimensional regularization, and we have F equal to FH plus FS. So yeah, so let me just explicitly show these steps actually. So here I consider the contribution coming from the hard region. So the actually for the hard region, we define the Taylor expansion operator TH. So for actually for the internal line I1, we don't have any scale hierarchy. So if we apply the actually hard expansion operator on I1, then it basically remains unchanged. But for the internal line I2, we have a scale hierarchy. Actually, because k is of the order of p, but we have here k square minus m, actually k square minus m square. That's why we can expand this particular term in a Taylor series, which is given by this expression. So this m square term actually independent of the loop momenta. That's why it comes out of the integration. Uh, and you can see that actually this particular integration is now actually given by only uh, actually we don't have m square actually inside the integration. We have only p square. So this the actually from the 2 scale we have uh, now the actually simplified expression in terms of 1 scales. So if one solves this particular integration with the standard method in dimensional regularization, we get this expression. Okay.
Ratan, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So here, when you are applying this Taylor expansion operator,
Yeah,
so you have this I2, which is the Taylor expanded version of this propagator. Okay.
yeah.
So do you want to comment on the convergence of this Taylor series?
Okay, so actually this gives rise to actually IR divergent term. So it's not convergent actually. This particular contribution is actually IR divergent. But so the point is that so after the expansion, new kind of singularities can arise. So and actually when one sums over the complete set of the regions, those new singularities should be cancelled actually. But yeah, they should be cancelled. But for actually, I can say that when one expand uh, particular contribution in a Taylor series, new kind of singularities can come. Is
So no, in this Taylor expansion, is it not sufficient to say that I mean this Taylor series is valid if you are looking at the momentum space region, which are much larger than the m squared?
yeah.
I mean, suppose so. I mean, if I just stick to the region of the momentum space, which is much larger than the m, then
Yeah,
this Taylor series expansion would make sense.
yeah. That is the actually that is definition of the heart region actually.
Okay, so then basically, I would, I mean, so this is basically the Taylor series expansion for the hard region. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, actually,
Okay.
yeah. Actually, that is the precise statement. Actually, I'm considering the contribution actually for the heart region only, where k is of the order of p, actually, which is actually very larger than n square. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Go ahead.
yeah. So after that, actually, we have the contribution coming from the soft region, where we have the soft expansion parameter Ts. So in this case, we don't have any scale hierarchy in I2, but we have a scale hierarchy in I1. So if I apply Ts on I2, the actually the I2 remain changed, but actually for I1 we have this particular series. Uh, so we have here two summation index J1 and J2, and actually J2 must be even. If J2 is odd, then this particular contribution is basically zero. So we need to consider J2. Actually, uh, uh, we need to actually consider J2 to be even actually. So if we plug this expansion in the contribution for the soft region, we get this particular expression, and if one solves this integral, one gets this expression. Now I come to the actually contribution for the double counting. Uh, Here, this IHS is the double counting term. Here, we first apply TS on I, and after that, we apply TH on the obtained expansion. So we get this particular expansion. And one can see that this is like scaleless. Uh, this gives rise to scaleless contribution, a scaleless contribution. So if one scales k going to some alpha k, then we'll get the integration like some function of alpha times I. So that is why I equal to 0. So scaleless contribution within dimensional regularization is basically 0. So we have if h is equal to 0. And for this simple one loop example, one knows the exact expression which is actually given by f equal to this particular expression, and actually uh, one actually shows that f equal to f uh, h plus fs. So this particular method exactly works. So actually this shows
Ratan, can you go back 2 slides, for example, where you did the soft
yeah,
region expansion?
yeah, okay.
So here, for example, your J1 and J2, they are varying from 0 to infinity. Okay.
Yeah,
Now, if you go to the next page, so I was just trying to understand. I mean,
yeah.
so there can be basically, so for example, if suppose that J2 is 0, okay, and
Yeah.
J1 is such that it is equal to say N2 plus I, in that case, you don't have this term. And therefore, this argument of the scaleless dimensional regularized integral being 0 would not be applicable. Is that correct, or I'm making a mistake somewhere?
You mean if you have J2 equal to 0, right? You are considered.
So J2 is equal to 0 and J1 is such that that N2 plus I equals J1 in these
Okay,
terms.
okay, okay. So then also you have actually integration over dk, right?
Okay, yeah, right. You will integrate and you have one. Okay, so under the this prescription or dimensional regularization, that would still be 0.
Yeah. That would be
Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, finally, we have the actual integration is actually given by contribution coming from the hard region plus contribution coming from the soft region. So actually, we have proved that this particular method actually is will works for this simple example. So, actually, this particular method has been used successfully in many practical examples, but we do not have any mathematical proof as of yet in Minkus space. So we're trying to look in that particular direction whether we can have a proof or not. So actually, in a recent publication by Smirnov and actually his collaborators, they actually tried to construct this particular problem of this this particular method in Lee and Pomeranski Lee and Pomeranski space actually. So that is basically characterized by one particular polynomial that is called Chi polynomial. Yeah. So I'll be showing that. So so for this simple one loop example, one can just look at the propagators and can say that these would be the regions. So, but when one goes beyond one loop, then it's a non-trivial task to identify the complete set of the regions. So, and also different components of the loop momenta can scale differently. So, then actually, so the case of identification of the regions becomes very difficult. So then one actually moves to alpha parametric space, so for the regions are defined by the scaling of the alpha parameters in a coherent way. So this particular method uh, actually had been developed by Park and Smirnov in actually 2010 based on a geometric approach. Here in this talk, I'll discuss about an actually alternative approach, which we call ASPIRE. Uh, uh, so it stands for Algebra Geometric Analysis of Singular Polynomials for Identification of Regions. So this particular method we had developed based on the Landau singularities and the literature of power geometry. So from now the talk will be very like technical, because I need to define few of the terms from actually power geometry, and yeah, uh, for uh, actually which I need to uh, describe for the construction of aspire algorithm. First, I actually discuss here the Feynman parameter space. So for a L loop uh, Feynman graph, which have m denominators and r external momenta in d dimension, has this kind of form. Here is a L cross L matrix, D is a L cross R matrix, and these are constants. So when one actually performs the loop momenta, uh, when one performs the integration over the loop momenta, then one actually arrives at the alpha parametric form, which is characterized by these two particular polynomial u and a. They are called the first and second kind of Syzygic polynomials. So u polynomial is a uh, 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 actually u polynomial is a homogeneous polynomial in actual alpha parameters of degree L, and a polynomial is also a polynomial is also a homogeneous polynomial in alpha parameters of degree L plus 1. So in alpha parametric space, we basically define the region by the scaling of the alpha parameters. So if x is the small expansion parameter, we basically define the regions to be alpha I that scales as x to the power some rho I. So we need to identify this set of exponents rho I in order to identify the regions. So in this particular framework, Aspire actually we have particularly designed an algorithm which will identify this set of vector exponents rho I based on actual power geometry and Landau singularities. So the singularities of a uh, 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 actually multi-scale multi-loop Feynman integral in a parametric space are given by a equal to 0, and as a is actually basically homogeneous polynomial in alpha parameters, so the first derivative of it with respect to the alpha parameters will be 0 as well. So this set of algebraic equations are called Landau equations. So they encode the information about the singularities uh, of the actual Feynman integral. So we'll be considering this set of particular uh, this this set, this set of equations for constructing the Aspire algorithm. Now I come to the
Ratan,
yeah
question on the previous slide. So these Landau equations,
yeah
the singularity that they capture, I mean, what kind of singularities they are?
um this so actually I mean that we have in actual parametric space we have two kind of singularities. One is uh, endpoint singularity, and another one is actually pin singularities. When the so in actually parametric space, the poles can move, and we have two fixed point uh, actually for the integration contours. So if uh, those poles actually moves to the endpoints, then still one cannot deform the actually the particular integration contour. So those are essential kind of singularities. So they are called the endpoint singularities. And when two particular singularities move uh, exactly towards the uh, actually towards the contour, and they pinch on the contour, then yeah, those are called the pin singularities. So we have these two kind of singularities here actually. And I
So just wanted to understand, like these singularities that you mentioned. So we are still talking about the Feynman integral, which is regulated by like this dimension D.
yeah, exactly.
And you are saying that even in D dimension you have like another singularities which are governed by these.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are not the ultraviolet singularities
So
that
actually,
would.
yeah, these are actually IR singularities, I think.
Why are you calling IR singularities? Because in you the I mean, okay, maybe in this case, but I was wondering the example that you took.
Yeah.
You had the mass scale in your problem. So as long as there are mass scales in the problem, you don't have usually any infrared singularities. So infrared singularities
Yeah.
may appear if you take
So
M to be zero.
yeah. So actually, so actually, they are basically regulated by the mass. Actually, yeah. That's
Yeah, so infrared singularities, they are regulated by mass,
yeah.
and ultraviolet singularities, they are regulated by your dimension.
Yeah.
So I believe the Landau singularities, they are, I mean, they don't cover any of those singularities here, right?
Yeah. Actually, basically, this is the actually actually this is basically generic statement. Like you can see that from this expression of
Mhm.
that the actually singularity of the actual integral depends on uh, this a equal to 0, right?
Right.
Yeah, so actually basically depending on the exponent of it, right? So actually that is why I equal to 0 gives rise to actual singularities here. And as A B is actually homogeneous polynomial in alpha parameters, the first derivative of it will be with respect to the alpha parameters. Actually, that is also basically 0.
Okay. Okay.
So
So I don't understand completely, but maybe you can go ahead and we can get back to this at the end of the talk.
yeah, sure. Yeah. So this power geometry was developed by Eddie Bruno. Actually, the motivation is to solve the algebraic geometric uh, sum. Yeah. So here we consider a particular polynomial gx, which is basically given by sum gq x to the power q. By x to the power q, we mean um, uh, so these are the monomial terms of the form x1 to the power q1, x to the power q2, and so on. And here chi is the set of the solution points for which gx not equal to 0. So here I need to define uh, few terms. The first one is the support. So if we take the vector exponents of the monomial terms of then we get so we get a set and we call that to be the support of the sum. So for this particular example, gxy, we have the support to be like 1 1 for the first time, and for the second term 2 0, and so on. So the Newton polytope is the basically convex hull of the support. So we have in actually xy space we have the points, and we basically connect those points by some of the outer surface, and those are yeah. So those kind of surfaces are give rise to the Newton polytope. So the Newton polytope has some facets. Those are called generalized facets. So and we basically denote them by gamma dj, where d is the dimension of the facet and j level is the face. Now I defined a normal cone. So basically normal cone means the normal vector uh, for uh, for actually generalized facets of the Newton polytope. So so actually for a vector p that belongs to the and so actually they are point in Rn, and also we consider a vector q that belongs to dual space R star, and then we basically define a scalar vertex c uh, uh, c, and so the set of all points for which c actually achieves the maximum value for the points p on the general space sets of the Newton polytope is called the normal cone of the faces. So these are basically the normal vector to the faces. And the cone of the problem is basically defined to be that such that the curves of this particular form fill those particular region of x variables space that we are interested in actually. And now the truncated polynomial is that for each of the facets of the Newton polytope, we have a particular sum, and that we call the truncated sum. And we basically denote that truncated sum to be uh, uh, actually G cap dj, where this Q belongs to that particular boundary subsets. So for this particular example that I take, we have this kind of Newton polytope, and the boundary subset for uh, are these, and the truncated polynomial is like that. Now I come to this at a very important particular theorem that is called Bruno's theorem. So this particular theorem says that uh, for each of the facets of the Newton polytope, there should exist a particular solution. So and so it says that if for some parameter t that is very large, the curve of this kind of form basically belongs to the set G, which is given by all x for which gx equal to 0, and the vector p that belongs to the normal cone, then the first approximation of that curve basically satisfies the truncated equation c cap dj equal to 0. So it says that for each of the facets of the Newton polytope, we have a vector p uh, that basically belongs to the normal cone. So the set of the vectors gives you uh, the uh, basically solution for a uh, particular uh, facet of the Newton polytope. So actually, the in our case, the regions, the vector exponents we talked about, actually to the rho I, they are basically given by this vector p. So we need to find this vector p, and this particular theorem basically says that if we consider the general facets of the Newton polytope and we find the normal vector, then the components of the normal vector basically is the exponent vector, which we call the regions. So now in our case, we have two kind of facets of the Newton polytope. One is called bottom, and the other is called top. So the bottom faces are those faces of the Newton polytope for which r dot p equal to c, where r vector is the points lying on the faces, and b is the basically normal vector to that surface. And and for the rest of the points, r dot p should be greater than c. And this is the case of the regions where we take the expansion parameter, which is m square by q square going to 0. And actually, the limit is q square very greater than m square. For the top facet, we have r dot p equal to c for the points are lying on the facets, and for the rest of the points r dot p, it's less than c actually for the points lying below the facets. So here we actually consider the expansion parameter m square by q square to be uh, actually to be very large, and actually this is the case of large mass expansion where m square is very greater than q square. So yeah, we'll show this explicitly. Now we can construct the algorithm as follows. So the first step is to find the u and a polynomial and take the sum of them, which we call g. Then we consider the set of Landau equations and express them by the Grobner-Regis elements. And the actually literature of power geometry for solving algebraic equations says that one needs to map the singular surfaces to the coordinate axis or the origin. So we so the actually we map the Grobner-Regis elements of the Landau equations to the coordinate axis, or actually to the uh, uh, actually to the coordinate axis, or actually to the origin. Then actually we consider the small expansion parameter in terms of the kinematic invariance, and we actually re-express all the constant coefficients like mass and external momentum appearing in the upper uh, 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 considerations. And so after that, we actually apply. So when we map the Grobner-Regis elements to the coordinate axis, or to the origin, then we get a certain set of linear transformations. So we need to apply those linear transformation to the polynomial g uh, g, actually, which is the sum of the semantic polynomials, and find the support for each of the polynomials. Then we actually we find the convex hull of the support, which gives the Newton polytopes for each of the polynomials, and we find the normal vectors for each of the facets of the Newton polytope. And actually from the Bruno's theorem, we get the vector p, actually which is the still uh, components of the normal vector of the facets, and this particular vector p gives us the set of regions. So actually this is the algorithm Aspire for identifying the regions, and we have implemented it in actual Mathematica program. So here I actually consider actually 2.1 example in the threshold limit, where we have the Q is the external momenta, and K is the loop momenta, and the expansion parameter is defined to be m square minus q square by 4. Now we actually find the QA polynomial uh, by the Mathematica program uf.m, and so actually fire this particular command, and which gives the output to be this. So the first argument is the u polynomial, second argument is the a polynomial, and third one is the number of loop momenta. So, and we actually consider the Grobner-Regis elements of the Landau equation, which has this kind of elements, this x2 and x1 plus x2 and x1 minus x2. So we map these uh, uh, particular singular surfaces to the coordinate axis or to the origin. So yeah, here I'm showing that these are the particular uh, particular singular surfaces of the Grobner-Regis elements. They are basically encode the singular information of the Landau equations. So actually these are the transformations by which we can map the Grobner-Regis elements to the actual coordinate axis. So we call T1 as the identity transformation. So it always exists, and we call the non-trivial transformation T1 to. So this one particularly maps the x1 minus x2 surface to actually x2 equal to 0, and T3 maps the x1 minus x2 surface to x1 equal to 0. Okay, so now actually we construct the G polynomial, which is u plus f, and we basically apply the transformations on these G polynomials and get this polynomial G1, G2, G3. So we find the support of the G polynomials, which are basically given by S1, S2, and S3, and we find the convex hull based on a mathematical program, and also the normal. So actually, we have written some functions for finding the normal vectors corresponding to those facets of the Newton polytope, and we find that we have uh, this kind of actually set of scalings. So the actual bottom facets, which are basically leveled by -1, they give rise to the regions, and top facet are basically leveled by actually 1. So I'll be discussing this particular case in the later slides. But for now, we identify that for this particular example, uh, we we have actually hard and potential regions. So basically, 0, 0 is the hard. Uh, Actually, 0, 0 is the hard region, and this minus half, -1, and -1, -half are the potential regions. So we basically completely identify the set of regions here. So so actually, this was my first example, and in the second example, actually this I consider a two-loop example of pion-kaon scattering in the actual chiral perturbation theory, where small m is the mass of the pion, and capital M is the mass of the kaon, and we consider this kind of limit where small p square equal to small m square, and capital P square equal to basically capital M square, and we consider the expansion parameter x equal to small m by capital M, and we find the set of actually set of regions which are actually matches with the actual consideration, where Kaiser and Schweitzer in 2006, I think, they have calculated the two-loop diagrams for pion-kaon scattering based on the expansion by regions. So we have checked that the regions match. So this was the algorithm, the successful use of algorithm Aspire. So now I'll come to the case of top facet with equal components and their correlation with the maximal cuts. So actually, for a generic Feynman diagram, which is given by this, in Feynman parametric form, we can write this particular expression in this form, and where the lambda similarities are given by actually sum over j alpha j times qj square minus mj square equal to 0. So we have said that for the top facets with equal components, the expansion parameter is very large. So, and also we know that alpha j scales as x to the power pj. So when x is very large, then alpha j are not equal to 0 for all j, actually, for all of the internal propagators. Alpha j is not equal to 0. And from this particular equation, we can say that if alpha j are not equal to 0, that means qj square minus mg square, that should be 0 actually. So for all j actually. So all of the internal lines are are actually on shell. So this is the condition for the maximal cut of the given diagram. So and yeah, we will actually show that the integrals that come from the top facet with same components are exactly proportional to the integral. So this construction is completely new. So one particular remark on this particular scaling that we call top facet with same components. That's so for this kind of scalings, we have the u and a polynomial to be like this. So u polynomial for this spaces remains the same, but a polynomial is basically given by q square equal to 0, but m square not equal to 0. So this particular limit is called the large mass expansion. So we'll consider the maximal cut in the large mass expansion limit. So we actually calculate the maximal cut of the actually one loop cases uh, uh, by this particular formula given in this paper by Abra and company. So here YC is called the Cayley determinant, and Gramsci is the Gram determinant, which are defined to be like that, and C is the set of the Cart propagators, and this mu prime is some actual parameter be plus one or minus one. They basically for if mu prime is plus one, then we are in Euclidean space. For minus one, it's in Minkowski space, and these are normalization constants. And d minus c is some let's see, uh, this s perp is some actually d minus c dimensional surface. So so actually this particular formula is basically given by Abra and company for one loop cases only. For uh, for actually beyond one loop, uh, they actually did not construct this algorithm. So for actually two loop example, we basically apply this formula in twofold way actually. Now let me just show you that the same example that I considered in case of uh, first example in case of Aspire uh, 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 a program. So now we so actually we have this set of semantic polynomials, and so so Aspire gives only one top phase scaling, which is minus and minus one. So we construct the integral for this and we get this expression, which is like m square minus q square by 4 to the power minus epsilon. So if we now apply the large mass expansion limit, where m square is very greater, m square is actually very greater than q square, and that's why we can neglect this term q square by 4, and we get some it's really this term m square to the power minus epsilon. And actually, so for actually getting the maximal cut, one needs to replace the propagators of the uh, Feynman integral by delta functions. So, and for this particular example, we find the Cayley determinant YC, which is basically given by this, and Gramsci is like Q square, and we find this expression for MC. So this particular expression is considered actually without the large mass expansion. But when we consider the large mass expansion, we get that uh, the top phase with actually same components are exactly proportional to the maximal cut of the actual integral in the large mass expansion limit. So yeah, actually this is one particular example. We also uh, had considered a two-loop non-planar diagram, which is basically given by this. And in this particular limit, where p1 square equal to 0, p2 square equal to 0, and 2p1 dot p2 equal to q square, and we have the expansion parameter to be m square by q square. So here, without applying the large mass expansion limit, we get this complicated expression. But when we apply the large mass expansion limit on the maximal cut, we get that they are exactly proportional to, so the top visit with equal components is exactly proportional to the maximal cut of the integral in the large mass limit. So this is the actually novel feature of this work, that we have correlated to independent approaches via actually Landau singularities. So now I'll describe a particular work that I had that I actually have been uh, uh, doing actually that I actually have been doing independently. It's a two-loop planar diagram, which is basically relevant for mixed QCD electric correction. Yeah, let me first actually define the integral. It's a 3-point function. So here we have considered the light quark, light actual light quark, um, uh, light quark loop, and also the loop including the vector bosons. So here we put this we neglect the mass mq, as they are very light, and we particularly consider the limit where this actually p3 line can be Higgs boson actually. So here we actually consider the particular limit where if I consider this actually p3 square equal to mh square, then we consider that mh square is very greater than md square actually, that particular limit. So based on that, based on this particular limit, we have actually Szymanczyk polynomials u and f to be this, and if I based on this consideration, I basically use the Aspire program and get 6 regions, which I basically list to this. So the first region is the this is the heart region. So yeah, so the calculation of the heart region is ongoing, because so the expression for the Szymanczyk polynomials for the heart region is basically given by this expression, and I construct the integration for the heart region in the Schwinger parameter space with the extra regulators lambda I. These are actually needed for actually regulating the contribution coming from few of the regions. So this particular contribution is identical to the actual Feynman integral, but with all the uh, to all the internal lines to be massless. So the calculation of this particular region is ongoing, and I express the uh, contribution coming from the region R2 in terms of one-fold Mellin-Burns integrals, and I need to solve this Mellin-Burns uh, one-fold Mellin-Burns integral actually, which is also ongoing. And for the region I3, we have the same kind of actually contribution in terms of one-fold Mellin-Burns integral, because you can see that I2 and I3 has some symmetry. Like here, if I actually replace this alpha 2 by alpha 4 in the R3, and alpha 4 to by alpha 6 in R3, then yeah, actually we need to exchange those two parameters. Actually alpha 2 by alpha 4 and alpha 5 by alpha 6 actually. That's why this actually 2 and 3 region will give same kind of expression. And I have exactly solved the contribution for the region R4, R5, and R6. And here I have this basically given the explicit expressions. So yeah, uh, I need to just calculate two two actually contributions to complete this particular case actually. So actually I am also uh, doing some doing some calculation of two loop 5-point functions based on the method of the differential uh, based based on the based on the method of base, okay. Yeah, I'm actually calculating two loop 5-point functions based on the method of differential equations. So this work has like three parts. In first part, we need to do the IBP reduction, which is actually very expensive in terms of memory and time. So and we have obtained a complete set of master integrals for that, but uh, we did not get the coefficients yet because uh, uh, actually because of some actually memory a problem actually. So we are actually working on uh, actually algebraic geometric approach so that uh, the actual problem of memory consumption can be solved. And after that, once we solve the IBP reduction, then uh, we will construct the differential equations for the master integrals and solve them with actual proper boundary conditions. So the boundary conditions basically comes from uh, the analysis of the regions. So yeah, and uh, so it's an ongoing process. So and I'm also working with actually Professor Sudhir Ganpati, and actually one of my friends. Actually, he's uh, basically Suman Kumbhakar. He's a postdoc at actually Montreal. So actually, we are calculating basically flavor piloting fixed tickets to constrain the UCA couplings. So yeah, here also we need to consider actually two loop diagrams involving uh, top quarks and actual vector bosons. And I also like had some plan to study the factorization of the amplitudes. So in the scattering processes, factorize the contributions of different scales actually. So this but this particular method of expansion by regions actually helps to get the factorization of amplitudes actually. So I want to focus uh, also on that how to get the factorization amplitude. So after getting the factorization, how to get the predictions for the collider observables from those theoretical constructions. And so this brings me to the conclusion that Aspire provides a useful method for unveiling the regions associated with a given Feynman diagram in a given limit. So the regions are basically from those scales coming from the bottom facets. So the regions obtained from Aspire algorithm can be used to analyze the multi-scale multiple Feynman diagrams asymptotically. And also we find that the particular scaling of Aspire program, the top facet with same components are exactly proportional to the maximal cuts. And actually we have correlated to independent approaches by lambda equations. This is the novel feature of this work. And finding systematic way to predict the correlations uh, 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 actually that is for the case of this. So the maximal cut and top face read same components, they are actually proportional, and so these actually proportionality factors should be basically predicted uh, in some consistent way. So we need to find a way that how to basically predict those kind of correlation factors. So this is a work for future. And also for the two loop case uh, uh, of like planar diagram for which is relevant for the mixed case electric correction. So in order to complete that particular uh, particular problem, we need to calculate the contribution coming from R1, R2, and R3 region, and the rest of the regions are solved. So and also actually when one solves differential equations of master integrals for multi-loop problems, then the asymptotic analysis for multi-loop diagrams in certain kinematic limits gives actually bound for them. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, yes.
So thank you, Dr. Radan, for such a nice talk. So if there are any questions or comments, please unmute yourself and ask.
So I just have a couple of questions to Ratan.
Yeah, sure.
So, Ratan, I was just wondering that I mean, this method of regions that you have developed and coded as a program called Aspire, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did not see, for example, one of the reasons that you are doing this, applying this method of regions is because we cannot compute the integrals exactly, right? We cannot obtain the analytical expressions of those integrals.
Yeah.
And therefore you're trying to tackle this problem by dividing the loop momentum in various regions where you can apply this method of expansion and obtain the analytical expressions.
Yeah.
So what is missing for me is that I mean, have you validated these expressions? For example, with known results, or for example, if you computed something for which the analytical result is not available, but I believe there are packages which can compute numerically. So using your method, have you done some kind of actually validation on your method?
Actually, it's ongoing. It's ongoing, and also I in actually one of the papers by Go Mishima, he actually used our program Aspire for actually die-Higgs production actually via top problem.
Okay.
So he actually used uh, the scaling coming from Aspire, and he basically commented on that. And I had some actually correspondence with him that basically regarding the calculations, and yeah, so I had been working on that particular paper as well. So yeah, it's ongoing actually. But he had shown that he actually used the program Aspire in actually obtaining for actually obtaining these uh, for obtaining the regions, and basically use those regions for calculating the Feynman diagrams which are relevant for the die-Higgs production of loop actually. So I have calculated the one loop case, but for the two loop case it's ongoing actually.
Okay. So as far as your program is concerned, and if I forget about that paper you mentioned, the I mean, your program is still being validated. That the region which is obtained from your program has to be used for the evaluation of the integral, and then say cross-check with any other calculation which is available, or for okay.
Actually I just actually there are actually programs like Fiesta, Bisected, so we can cross check with those kind of frameworks actually.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically
Okay.
basically recently in the framework of Bisected, they have included uh, the expansion by regions actually.
I
So
see.
so
Okay.
actually we can cross check with their framework that numerically what kind of result they give, and actually I can calculate the analytically the expressions for the regions, and then cross check that whether it's get matched.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Thanks. I have no further question.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So any more questions or comments? So if not, let us thank the speaker again, and maybe with this we can conclude the meeting.
Thank you very much. Yeah, for
Thank you.